Green Bay is different. Ryan Clark and Scott Van Pelt, after the New Orleans Saints just get absolutely mollywopped 34-0 against the Green Bay Packers. Really ugly stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, just one of the worst Monday night performances you'll ever see. And we watched it live in front of God and everybody on stream. Over 3 hours of that is no way to spend a Christmas holiday. Ugly stuff. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the box score before we get to this. If we look at the team stats here, first downs 24-14, total yards 404 for the Packers, 196 for the Saints, 5.9 yards per play to 3.7, over 2 yards per play difference. Just yards per pass 3.9 to 7.2. Rushing, they had 4.8 yards to carry, which actually, like these numbers are kind of. They should have been worse. Like the Packers, they took their foot off the gas early, and they let their backups, their third string, kind of do whatever they wanted against us. And it was just one of those situations where they just kind of broke the Saints. They just kind of broke the team. You look at our game leaders. Spencer Rattler leads rushing, 5 carries for 28 yards. Foster Moreau leads receiving with 2 receptions for 33 yards. I don't think he had a catch in the second half. I know he didn't have a catch in the second half, and he led the team in receiving. 3.4 yards a carry. Lost a turnover battle by 2. Lost time of possession by 15 minutes. This all sounds bad. It was bad, but then you look at this. The Packers' Monday night performance, 30-plus point shutout, 400-plus yards while allowing under 200 yards, 0 turnovers, 0 fumbles, 0 sacks taken, 0 missed kicks. No other team in NFL history has done that in the same game. This was the, you could argue, I didn't really think about this until just now, but you could argue this was the greatest performance in NFL history as far as efficiency, as far as production, and just being on point, just being on the numbers. Like the Green Bay Packers, boots to ass, belt to ass, however you want to say it, what they did to us is the reflection of a near perfect organization, an incredible head coach, and a team that just came out there and gave the Saints their best. Like came out and said, here's our best. What are you going to do? And the bottom line is the Saints rolled over. The Saints were faced with the Packers' best effort, and the Saints had absolutely nothing to respond with. The Saints never got in the red zone. The Saints never truly threatened. If you look at the drives, the Packers open up with a 10. Look at this too. Look at this. Look at these 2 drives. This is how they open the game, ladies and gentlemen. 10 plays, 63 yards, 6 minutes, touchdown. Saints punt. 17 plays, 96 yards, 9-minute drive. Okay. The first 2 possessions, 27 plays, 160 yards, and 15 minutes of possession. In the first 2 possessions. What else do you need to know? If you want to know when the game was over, right here. 14-0. The Saints allow a 17. Look at this. Look at the scroll. 17 plays, 96 yards, 9-minute drive to go up 14-0. The game right there is over. They scored with 11 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the second quarter. They could have called the game off right there, and it would have saved us a whole lot of time.
Ryan Clark is alongside. Oh, you caught me with my hat on. See, I've been taking it off. See, I thought we were doing the highlight, then talking to Ryan. I should pay attention when people are talking. But we got dudes with their shirts off.
It's a wild night.
Explain this place to people. It's just different, isn't it?
You know what? We've been a ton of places this year that are historic. We've been in MetLife. We've been to Pittsburgh. But this is different.
Yeah.
It's almost a Friday night like lights field with a NFL team. And it pops up right outside of a neighborhood.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Lambeau is like in a neighborhood, like a street over are houses. You know, a street over is stop signs at houses and front yards. And first shutout of the NFL season for the Saints, or the Saints were the first team this year to be shut out. First time a shutout has happened since 2019 on Monday Night Football. I believe this was the first time since 2007 that the Saints were shut out in the first half of back-to-back games. So just a lot of historical numbers popping up, a lot of historical stuff that the Saints are on the wrong side of. And, you know, just like I just showed you, the Packers' performance was first time in NFL history a team can do that.
Historic sort of cachet
Shout out to Swagoo.
Shout out to Swagoo that this team has, but also the present hope that they have, believing that they can win a championship, the sort of excitement that a great team builds in a community and a fan base.
And the conversation on Countdown was about this. You asked the question, is this a Super Bowl team? And Josh asked the question, when's the last time they had 3 different running backs score a touchdown? 2009, Amon Green, Ryan Grant, Brandon Jackson back then. And tonight they have 3 different touchdown scores toting the rock, and they don't give up a single point. And that is no.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. So if you look at the Packers box score, when you talk about flexing, they had 9 different ball carriers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. Bo Melton got carries. Chris Brooks got carries. Christian Watson got carries. Emmanuel Wilson got carries. I mean, this is crazy. 9 different players ran the ball. 9. 3 different touchdown runners. 3. I mean, just flexing on the Saints. And the Packers are one of those teams. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team because I think the Eagles and the Lions are so good, especially the Eagles right now. The Lions have a lot of defensive injuries and offensive injuries, but I think the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFC. But the Packers have created one hell of a brand. They have created one hell of a team to where, you know, they are willing to beat you physically. They are willing to beat you with Josh Jacobs. They are willing to let Jordan Love sling it around. They are willing to, let Tucker Kraft do his quarterback sneak thing on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Wide receiver wise, is it going to be Jaden Reed that beats you? Is it going to be Romeo Doubs? Is it going to be Christian Watson? Is it going to be like Tucker Kraft? How are they going to beat you through the air? And then their defense is really good. Their defense is absolutely stacked. So just one of those teams. Just one of those teams that can beat you in a million different ways, and they are as buttoned up gets. They are as efficient gets. They are as well coached gets, and they're a legitimate franchise. I mean, they're a legitimate franchise with a lot to be excited about.
Notable because it has not happened once this season. If you're going to start with what's the difference making on this defensive side of the ball, where do you begin?
I think you start with the defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, and the way that this team attacks, as opposed to how they were last year with Coach Berry being the defensive coordinator. They're great up front. Rashawn Gary, who can produce pressure, and Kenny Clark, who can produce pressure in 4-man rushes. Now you're adding that blitz. Edgerrin Cooper becoming a superstar at the second level. And on the back end, being able to make plays while replacing players, Scott. You don't have Jair Alexander. You're missing Bullard, you're missing Williams, and now you have other players like Zane Alexander step up and turn the football over. Valentine at the corner position. This is a team that, as much as we speak about some of the big losses Detroit has had, they've also lost some pieces on defense and continue to produce. And I don't care.
I mean, how good is the NFC North? Lions, Vikings, and Packers. A combined 37 and 8.
Who you're playing, whether it's Spencer Rattler, Derek Carr, the New Orleans Saints, or if you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, if you pitch a shutout in the NFL, you've played high-level ball.
Oh, yeah.
And you're the only one who's done it again. And, I mean, it's a combination of a number of different things. It's elements. It's a young quarterback. It's a hell of a football team that's playing at a really high level. And we had Josh out here, and it's like it's cliche, but you can feel it happening. As it gets colder and you start leaning into your defense and you start really wanting to trust your run game, they are just giving him, they're feeding that, man. And I would continue to, that would be my approach. Why would?
I mean, that is their approach. Their approach is they have leaned into this new style of the NFL. Like we talk about the whole too high shell. We talk about how, you got to play kind of the whole like take shots deep and throw the ball all over the place. Like that's not really the thing right now. The thing right now is run the football, play defense, and the Packers fully leaned into that. They fully leaned into, all right, well, we'll just give Josh Jacobs the ball 20 times, and if you can stop him, cool. If not, we will go on 18-play drives. Like we will go on these hyper-efficient 17-play, 10-minute drives. That is how you win football games. That is how the best teams do it. And the Packers, we see that with the Packers. We see that with the Lions. We see that with the Eagles. The Eagles, not this past week, but the week before, they got the ball with like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The other team didn't touch the ball. Like that, these 10-minute drives are the new like 500-yard passing game. Like before, it's like, can you score 50 points? Can you throw 500 yards? Can you do all this stuff through the air? Now it's, can you have a 10, 11, 12-play drive? Can you hold the ball for 10 minutes? Can you run the ball at will? And the really, really good teams can do that. The really, really good teams, like 3 and out, LOL. 3 and out. These teams don't go 8 and out. These teams don't go 6 and out. These teams are putting together double-digit play drives that look relatively effortless.
Wouldn't it be?
You know what, Scott? It was interesting listening to Matt LaFleur when he was speaking to Michelle, saying when Malik Willis became the starting quarterback, they had to lean into the run game a little bit more. But he saw how effective it could be. They saw how creative they could be in the run game. And not only is this run game physical, but it produces chunk plays as well. And so it's not like when they start to hand the ball off, they're conceding dynamic plays. They're still getting the dynamic plays, keeping your offense on the sideline and wearing your team out throughout the game. And then we saw the big play in the second half from Jordan Love on a play-action pass.
How many touches tonight? 13 rushes for 69, and then the pass game for 38, and that's...
it really felt like Jacobs and the Packers could do whatever they wanted. It really felt like if they would have said before the game, hey, you want to get 200 yards rushing, he could have easily got that. Like, it's almost embarrassing that the Packers took mercy. The Packers were playing around. They were letting their third string, fourth string running back get carries. They were kind of just chilling. And that produced one of the most dominant performances, maybe the most dominant, I'm just going to say it, the most dominant performance we've seen in the NFL this year. It was every bit of the first time you ever played Madden and your 20-year-old older brother having mercy on you, but still putting up 42 points.
It's the thing that you could see Love looking downfield. If he doesn't like what he sees, 8 just floats out to the side, and good luck getting him down. The first person, it's like him and Debo. The first person never gets that guy on the ground.
It's funny you mentioned him. I always talked about Marshawn Lynch, and people would say, why was he so hard to tackle? And it was because he was so wide. And all he would do was give himself a half of your body, and you aren't tackling a man like him if you can't get full force. And that's the same exact thing I see in Josh Jacobs. What was cool was last week he had 9 touches of the first 11, and that produced a touchdown. But it was both pass plays and run plays. They're finding unique ways to get the football in his hands and allow him to have.
You look at these plays right here. These are like third option plays for the Packers. These are like dump plays, check plays. Deep ball isn't there, play action's not there, dump it off, or a handoff that goes for 11. Like, these are plays that are like, they're concession plays, and they are the most dynamic plays the Saints could even dream of.
Have space and then use his power on contact.
Who do you like best in the NFC North right now, tonight?
I like Detroit. I like Detroit. I know that always comes with the caveat of they've had to survive so many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. When does that catch up? But it hasn't caught up to them yet, even though they've given up points. I love Detroit, but I believe these last 2 weeks of this season between Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit are going to say a lot about what the playoffs are. It's not about the seeding. It's about how these teams play against one another.
And it's interesting, just as it relates to Green Bay, and we saw it not too long ago when Green Bay went up there, Buffalo could outscore them in that circumstance. I don't know if either Minnesota or Green Bay is equipped to outscore them in the 40s the way perhaps that's what you're going to have to do. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. This is an offense. Come on, Scott. We were laughing about Ben Johnson making up plays. right?
The dude's bored.
Like he actually asked his quarterback,
Right.
"Hey, do you think you could fumble it?
Can you fake it? No, actually fumble and then recover it. Like, no, I think I could fake it, and they sold it and they scored. But all right, so Detroit's the answer.
I think Detroit's the answer right now. For me.
I agree.
It's the
I think Detroit and Philly are a cut above Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota and Green Bay, but they're legit. Like Green Bay and Minnesota are legitimate teams. I just think Philly and Detroit are that good.
questions that this division asks of itself are unlike any other at the moment. Ryan Clark, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, brother. Merry Christmas.
I appreciate it, Mike.
There you go. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas Eve is when this is coming out. So Merry Christmas Eve. Hope you enjoy it with your friends and family. Hope Santa Claus, hope Papa Noel put some gifts under your tree. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.